Well, it's great to be with you. I'm Mark Berrett. I just want to tell you that I am an LGBTQ ally, and I support gay marriage. And equal marriage, I guess is what you call it. But what I'm most proud about is I am Quinn's G-pop. So I'm G-pop on Facebook. I only have like 11 friends. Seriously, 11 friends. But if you see a like from Sparkle Farkle, that's me. And Sparkle Farkle goes way back. Old people remember, laugh in. My sisters teased me. I was Markle Sparkle Farkle as a family. Because I was weird. You remember? I do. I didn't think they were teasing me. I didn't think they were. But it was about the time when Quinn was born. That's when we were asked to be a part of Daniel Parkinson's project. It was called I'll Walk With You. And I was very excited to be a part of that project because I realized how difficult it was being gay in our culture. And if there was anything I could say, if anybody wanted to listen, I would be glad to talk about it, and anybody that wanted to listen, and that I wanted people to know that I'll walk with them, even in the face of judgment and rejection from family and friends, and I will walk with them. Megan's my oldest daughter. She's a high achiever. Just to brag on her, she was a UVU academic all-conference soccer player. And so I don't know if I was more proud of her being a great soccer player or that she was academic all-conference. I mean, and that was a pretty tough conference too. I mean, there was South Dakota, North Dakota. Anyway, she did work really hard. She's hardworking, caring, forgiving, understanding, and friendly. Being an only man in the family was hard at times. Megan would go out of her way to make me feel welcome and make me feel wanted. When she finished playing soccer, she wanted to run a marathon. Dad, would you run one with me? I'm like, what? No. But she wanted me to do it, and I went and did it, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it. The first time, I think she was ready to give up on me. We were jogging along, and then all of a sudden, I tripped and fell. And I didn't realize that I wasn't coordinated enough to run. And after every run, I'd always have bruises or scrapes on my hands from tripping and falling. But it was one time that I really enjoyed with Megan and Lauren. We would jog, and about halfway they would take off and go, and leave me in the dust. But I did enjoy that time when they would stay with me and chat with me, and we talked about all kinds of stuff. It was fun. On one run, we ran from Primary Children's to our home in South Jordan, and it is a long way, but it was a fun warm-up run for our marathon. I was thinking about what it would be like to be gay in an LDS home, and we've talked about this a little bit, and we've kind of alluded to it, but being a gay, the gay minority is different than other minorities. Other minorities, you have people that you can relate to. If you're Hispanic, chances are your parents are Hispanic, and your cousins are Hispanic. And so when you face discrimination, you have other people you can rely on. If you're gay in a Mormon home, you're alone. Megan was a minority in a home full of the majority race and religion in the area. I was intrigued a little bit about that, the YouTube campaign that had college kids talking about that it does get better. That infers that I had a minority in my house and I had degraded and humiliated her. And Megan was scared. I remember her telling me she was scared to even think that she was gay, and finally she had the courage to face it herself that she was in fact gay. That struck me as interesting, that she had to accept herself as being a part of the most misunderstood and hated minorities on the planet. You know, we talk abstractly about gay people, you know, being the curse, being the cause of families and nations falling in ruin. I mean, that's really serious stuff for a kid, and it's so bizarre that they feel that way, and that we perpetuate that. So as I was thinking about a gay LDS child, it started something like this: as a child, you notice you're different. I even heard one young man comment that he felt out of place his whole life. At some point you figure out that you're different than your parents, your siblings, and your friends, and your grandparents, and probably all the people you know, and suddenly you're a minority of one. You're lonely, hated, teased, ridiculed minority, and in some cases by your parents and your family members. It must be one of the loneliest feelings in the world. You can't tell your parents, your best friends, your roommate without fear of rejection, ridiculed by the people you most love and know. In Provo recently, a roommate was kicked out of his apartment, thrown out of his apartment in the middle of the night because his roommates heard that he was gay. If you're in college and you tell your parents, you risk being cut off financially and emotionally at a vulnerable time in your life. During a time in your early 20s, maybe during that time from your early teens until you're in your 20s or later, you keep the secret that you're bad. It's during this time that our children need us the most. They're at the greatest risk of suicide, drug abuse, promiscuity, depression, and other symptoms from the fear and loneliness and loss of hope that's out there. If they can make it to their 20s, kids make it to their 20s fairly unscathed, they do realize that it does get better and that life is good and that they do find support that'll help them in that. But far too many of our children, it is too hard for them to deal with by themselves. I hear the gossip about kids that have committed or attempted suicide because they feel so hopeless and that life is not worth living. You are worth it. Let me just emphasize that. You are worth it. And we need you in our lives, even if we don't recognize it yet. I want you to know that. One of the interesting talks I heard from Hugh Nibley was he had a talk on managers and leaders, and that there's far too many managers and not enough leaders. And he described leaders as movers and shakers, original, inventive, unpredictable, imaginative, full of surprises. They discomfort the enemy in war and the main office in peace. For the managers are safe, conservative, predictable, conforming organizational men and teams and dedicated to the establishment. The leaders, for example, have a passion for equality. Men in the ranks are not fooled, for instance, by the executive type who thinks he's a leader. For the managers, the idea of equality is repugnant and even counterproductive. Where promotion, perks, and the privilege and power are the name of the game, awe and reverence for rank is everything. The inspiration and motivation for all good men. Where would management be without the inflexible paper processing, dress standards, and attention to proper social and political and religious affiliations? A diligent watch over habits and attitude that gratify the stockholders. So, when I think about that, that really struck me, because I do have management tendencies, that I want to do good to those above me. And I noticed those in some of my situations after Megan told me that she was gay and how we handled it. It was an interesting week this week. Madeline, one of my daughters, fell on the ice and had a concussion. And she did pretty good. She's feeling much better, but that night was really weird. When she came into our home, she had this memory of our little dog Gus that would come to us every day. And she looked at me and goes, "Dad, did we put Gus down?" I go, "Yeah, we did." Then she'd go on, "What day is it? Do I work? Who do I date now?" And then she'd look at me again and say, "Dad, did we put Gus down?" "Yeah, we did." Oh. That went on for like 20 times. I had to relive Gus's death like 20 times that night. I don't think she remembers any of it. But anyway, there was one day I was walking Gus out in the park, and one of my neighbors came up to me and he wanted to give me comfort that I had a gay child. And I chuckled and responded and said, I'm a white male in a white male world. Life does not get better. I mean, nobody has it better than me. No one on the planet. I mentioned that the people that really need our comfort and understanding are gay kids, grandkids, friends, and neighbors. They don't need our condemnation. They need our love and acceptance. My neighbor was showing some management characteristics. His comment indicated he cares about his peers and his leaders, not about those that needed his help and compassion. And that's what our Savior does. He cares about us and those that really need help and compassion at that time. I can't find the reference, but I think it was an article I read that Daniel Parkinson wrote that you don't need to qualify your love when you're talking to your kids. You don't need to say, "I love you, but I don't support gay marriage." Gay people already assume that you deeply oppose gay marriage unless you say so specifically. Unless you specifically say it differently. You can just say that you say and show your love. There's no need to qualify. Love the sinner and hate the sin is unbelievably naive and an ineffective way to show love. Just expressing love and showing love is fine. Our friends and family members have all had different reactions when we invited them to Megan and Kenneth's reception. And I'm sure everybody has different stories about how they all had different interactions with people, and ours wasn't that much different than I'm sure some of yours would. One of Sue's friends was like, "Oh, Sue, I'm going to be there. I want to help serve and help at the wedding." The next day, she called and said, "Can't do it." Our bishop said, "We can't do it." And my business partner, I was a little worried about what my business partner would say. He's a weirdo. He wrote an 800-page essay on Isaiah, and he thought anybody would buy that. I'm like, Sean, nobody's going to buy an 800-page rambling about Isaiah. Anyway, my business partner was very kind and understanding to me, and accepted me and was like, anything you need, we love you, we love your family, we love Megan. And he was on the High Council at that time, and the stake president, and he says, "We're coming to the reception, we're going to come, it'll be great." And in the High Council, the stake president said, let's have a talk about what is appropriate and inappropriate. If there was a wedding reception for friends, gay child, would you go? My mother-in-law calling families out. We had a family reunion that would have only been our family and Sue's parents. But she really stood up for Sue and Megan and us and said, "You guys are nuts. I've never heard my mother-in-law swear before." And then she did. Well, technically, if you say it, she didn't really swear. She was quoting somebody, so I don't know if that really counts as a swear. So in conclusion, I have two little points. I have two points. I strongly encourage kids to be patient with your parents. It takes us a while to face our fears, which are minuscule compared to your fears, but they're fears nonetheless. The experience with Megan telling me she's gay took me time to figure out. I grew up in Pocatello. I attended Highland High School. I was active in student government, in sports, and church and friends. We had a graduating class of about 450 kids. Percentages would say that there was at least 30 kids in my class that were gay. 35 years later, I still don't know of any gay classmates. It was such an unsafe environment that they still don't feel safe and comfortable in telling people they're gay. I would tell gay stories that, just to be funny, that I regret now. One of my most favorite people in the world is gay, and I apologize for being such a weirdo. I did it just to be funny. I'm sorry. She's one of the most important people in my life. I will always walk with her in her successes, happiness, fears, and disappointments. Now is the time for us to be leaders. We must stand up for our children, even in the face, even the face of our church friends and leaders and coworkers and extended family members. The sad truth is that we will lose friends and family members, and it'll hurt a lot. People who you hope will be supportive will distance themselves from you and will judge you because you want to be in your child's lives. Leaders care about those that need us. I challenge all of us to love and care about the people that need us and stand up for them, even when afraid and in an unsure crowd. As you stand up for our children who need our love and support, you will feel closer to your Heavenly Father. And I leave you these thoughts in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.